I told y'all in my previous video that I was gonna be building out my gaming PC, and today is that day.
Gucci bucket hats and Louis Vuitton wallets. My hand been itching, I call it the Palm Pilot. Landed on some acres, I probably should start buying, but I keep spending money on jewelry and fine dining. God just blessed me with a rollie, I call it divine timing. Came up out the Honda, the Tesla.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy CKid here, man. Alright, so today's video, man, I'm hyped because we got our tower here. This is the CTE E600MX. Can't wait to show y'all that. Our fans here, we got our EX12s as well as EX14s. Then we have our AIO here. This is our water cooler here that's gonna allow us to keep that CPU cool. And then when it comes to our power supply here, that is a 1200 watt beast. We got our RAM sticks here. This is our DDR5. Now, some of the things I did have to get on my own because just Thermaltake just doesn't sell these products. We have our Z790. This is by ROG. This is going to be my motherboard that I'm using. Now, the reason why I actually picked this bad boy up right here is simply because it's Wi-Fi 7 and it's got a couple other hidden things that I'm excited to actually kind of open this bad boy up and check out. When it comes to Wi-Fi 7, man, I do have Wi-Fi 7 built into my homes. If you guys seen some of my other videos, hopefully they're out by the time this video here gets released with me working with Eero. And this is why I really wanted to check out Wi-Fi 7 in this PC here. Graphics card here. This is going to be a 4080 Super build. This is also by ROG, but it is NVIDIA based. And then what else do we got? i9 processor that we putting in it from Intel, 2TB option for our SSD, some thermal paste, and then we also got some Liam Lee cables that is going to look fire. This bad boy here is a secret weapon. Shout out to my good people over at Thermaltake. They was cool enough to send me out a bunch of stuff that you guys see here on this desk. But all in all, man, I hope I got enough info that I've learned because yeah, this is about to be a lot of work. But look, I'm ready for the challenge, man. So let's get to it. Let's go. Now, one thing when it comes to building out gaming PCs that you guys need to know is pretty much every build is somewhat similar, but it's gonna also be unique in its own right. Oh, I almost forgot. We gotta set the vibes first before we even get into any kind of builds, man. You know what I'm saying? We gotta set the mood over here. All right. Now we ready to go. All right, so like I was saying, man, when it comes to PC builds, all of them are gonna be somewhat similar on the same line, but a lot of them is also gonna be unique to its specific case or its specific design of whatever you guys are necessarily going for. And I'm gonna have to sit this down because this one ain't for the weak. And y'all know me, man, I'm always struggling when it comes to taking these out the box. All right, there we go. Now, you do get your manual here, but you're not gonna need that because y'all got me. Be honest with y'all, I have no idea what's in here. Oh, it's the glass. One thing that I did research when it comes to this case right here is the fact that, as you guys can see, there's glass here on the front. We're actually gonna be replacing this side right here with this glass because we want that all open glass type of feel. Now, the first thing we wanna do here, we wanna go ahead and just unpack everything. So we're just gonna take this glass part off right here. So we got that part off. Now, this is the part here I was telling you guys that I'm actually gonna be replacing with the glass that we see over here. Now, the one thing I do want to take off is going to be the back. Now, to take that off, you literally just pull it straight off and then boom, it just all comes off as one piece. Untie these ties that they got in here. All right, in here is where we have all of our screws here. We also get some Thermaltake ties, which I actually think that's a dope touch that they put that in here. Then we also got some brackets here, which is going to be used to help with mounting our GPU. And then we also have some, what are these called? What are these called? I told y'all, man, I'm new to this. So these are called, the slots on the side, I can't remember, or the slots on the top. I think we put them like right up here is where that's gonna go. But all in all, you'll see where they go. So let's go ahead and sit this off to the side because now we got this fully opened up and off how we want to. Now, the next thing we want to do here, we want to go ahead and build out our motherboard. Now, this is important to do this prior to actually putting this inside of the case in itself. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Again, I did a lot of research online, man, before spending money and I think that's something that you guys should do, especially when you guys are spending money like this, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, building a PC is not a cheap project. It is not something where you guys just want to just, go out there online and just go find some parts or whatever and build it. Like, really think about what you guys want in your build and think about, your budget and how much money you guys are wanting to spend. Because like I said, I'll be honest with you, man, building PCs is not cheap. First thing I want to do here is I want to go ahead and put our i9 processor here. This is, again, Intel. We want to go ahead and install this into our build here. Again, I'm running an i9, but I honestly think if you guys don't want to have to spend all of the money on an i9, trust me, an i7 is more than enough enough for most people. But again, I kind of wanted to future-proof mine a little bit. So I went ahead and went with an i9. Now putting this in is super simple, guys. All you have to do is unhook this latch right here that you guys see. We're gonna pull that up, and then we're just gonna lift this up. And then you can see here, it has 2 grooves here at the bottom and 2 grooves here at the top. All we want to do is literally just turn it around to where the words is actually matching towards you. And then we're just going to line those 2 grooves up at the top as well as at the bottom right here onto the motherboard. So we just sit it right on top. Boom. We just sit it on there. You don't have to apply any type of pressure or anything like that. We're going to close this down, firmly press down. And then from there, you just put the spring back on, and then boom, just like that, this is going to pop off. You just literally take it off like that, and then boom, you just install your CPU. It is that freaking simple, y'all. Now I ain't gonna lie, like the inside of this mug looks so freaking dope, man. It's just clean, especially this part right here. Now the next thing we want to do here, we want to go ahead and install our SSD. Now the one that I'm using is the Samsung 990 Pro. I got a 2 terabyte option here, and then all we want to do to install this, man, again, super easy. All we want to do here with this one, it has 2 screws. So we're just gonna go in here. Oh, this is a flathead. Wow, okay. Kind of rare you see a flathead inside of here. So let me change the bit out here. All right, so my motorized one here, it doesn't necessarily work. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go old school with it. Okay, so this one is too big to put in there. And hopefully this one here will work. I think we got action. Do we got action? No, we don't have action. Bro, you need like a really, really tiny one to get that out. Okay. All right, so I've tried all of my screwdrivers, y'all, and I cannot get in here, but I got my one last one that I'm actually gonna try, which is this small, tiny one here. Now I saw 2 screws here on the bottom side here, and I'm gonna try to actually take those off and see if that's how you actually open up the M.2 areas. Fingers crossed, man. And this is kind of like the trial and error when it comes to building PCs, man. You just kind of never know the challenges that you may face. You know, it's kind of intriguing to me is the fact that you have to figure these things out as you go. Although it can be a struggle, but we gonna try to get it to work here. All right, so let's see if taking those 2 screws off actually did anything, and doesn't look like it. We have to get down into this area down here, man, because I don't have a screwdriver that can allow me to get in here. Oh, wait a minute, this is turning. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we in there. Oh, let's go. All right, so we found the smallest screwdriver that I got. Man, it actually works. So shout out to this one right here. So we gonna just take this off right here. All right, so we're gonna sit that off to the side like that. I've actually never seen one that's like this. This is definitely a very unique one as far as the cables go. But anyway, we're gonna peel that off like so. We're gonna go ahead and just take this piece right here, and all we're gonna do is just slide it right into here. We're just gonna line the grooves up. Make sure you push it all the way in at kind of like a little 45-degree angle. And then you're just gonna push down, and we're gonna turn this little pin right here. Gonna push all the way down, and then we're gonna turn the pin to the point where we lock it in place. And then we're just gonna place it right back on here like it never left. Next thing I want to do here, I want to go ahead and install is going to be my RAM sticks. Thermaltake, this is the RGB D5, and then this is exactly what they're going to actually look like here. It has the RGB lights on the top, which I think is going to look really dope. First thing we want to do here is usually you want to put it in this 4th slot here as well as the 2nd slot. Those are typically going to be your slots that you guys want to put these in if you only have 2. Now if you got 4, obviously you're just going to line them up all 4, but for us 32 gigabytes of RAM is more than enough. So let's go ahead and slot these bad boys in. So all you got to do is just align this cutout groove right here onto the actual motherboard, and then you're good to go. So we're just going to sit it into the slot, and then you're just going to put a little bit of pressure until you hear that clip into place. And then we're going to take the 2nd RAM stick, put it into our 4th slot, get it aligned up, and then just push it down into place. And then just like that, man, now we got our CPU installed, we got our SSD installed, our M.2, and then we also got our 32 gigabytes of RAM. Now at this point, we pretty much ready to go ahead and put this bad boy inside of our casing here. Now taking off this part here, we also got 4 other M.2 slots that we have here. So we got one here, got another one here, as well as another one here. But me, I installed mine in here just because I just thought it was the better option to be able to do. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just put this back on since we're not gonna be using any of those slots. Now, one thing real quick, I will say that I recommend is to make sure you guys do keep this here, which what popped off our motherboard here, because in the future, if you guys ever wanna go ahead and sell this, then you can go ahead and just put this cap back on. So I do recommend you guys keep that just for the future. Shout out to the little screwdriver. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and install our motherboard inside of the case here. Now, what you guys want to do is all of your IO ports that we have here on the side, you just want to align that with whatever is going to be on your case. Now, for us, this is going to be aligned right here on the side. So all we're going to do is just align this right here, and then we're going to align it right onto the screws that are already in place. Now, I recommend going like a cross pattern here, just to make sure you guys have everything aligned up. Oh, and I just dropped the whole screw. Oh, I dropped it in the motherboard, bro. Everything is locked into place. All right, now the next thing I want to do here, I want to go ahead and install my AIO. This is going to be our water cooler. Now, again, this is our liquid water cooler. This is going to be the snow edition from Thermaltake. So let's go ahead and take this out of the packaging. Now, how we're actually going to install this one on our build is actually going to be on the side. Now, most builds is typically at the top of your PC, but for this build, I'm actually going to mount it on the side. I think that's going to be the better mount for this. Now, the first thing I want to do here is we're going to go ahead and install all of the fans onto this build. Now, these are going to be Thermaltake's kind of basic fans that they have that we're actually going to be installing here onto the radiator. But I'm going to show you how the other ones that they got that's super fire, because it's all magnetic and you only got one cable on those versus having an individual cable on each one of these. So I'm going to show y'all that here in a second. What we want to do here is kind of figure out our orientation of how we actually want to install this. How we're going to do that is we want to make sure we're turning the fans in a way where that air is being pushed out of it. All right, so to do this part here, we got these screws that come with the AIO. Now, the one thing we're going to do here with this here, we want to go ahead and daisy chain each one of these fans up to be one single unit, if that makes sense. Now, one thing we want to do is we have this in here that we basically going to run into this fan, and then we have the same cable on here that we're going to run into this fan. Now, the next thing I want to do is go ahead and get it installed into the actual casing. So let me get the casing back up here. Before we actually install it, they do give you some thermal paste here. I did buy my own. Now, I did some research out there. This one right here actually got some pretty good reviews. It's the MX4 thermal paste. And all we want to do is just put a couple dabs right there on the top of the CPU here. So I'm just going to put a strip right down the middle, not too much. All right, now this is going to help with keeping your CPU pretty much cool. All right, cool. So we got the thermal paste on there. We want to go ahead and now install our fans onto here. So we're going to just put this onto the radiator here. Now I'm just going to sit that right on top. Now the next thing we want to do here is we have this bracket here. Now if you guys have a Intel based one, then you guys want to use this bracket onto our AIO, or if you guys have a AMD setup, then you guys want to actually use this bracket right here if you guys have an AMD setup. But all we want to do is just take this bracket right here and you just slide it right into the grooves. You can see that there's grooves. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see that there's grooves going all the way around it. We just want to line it up like so, and then just slide it, and then it's going to clamp into place. Boom, just like that. And then the next thing we want to do is just align it to the 4. That makes contact to the CPU, and then from there, the next thing we want to do is we just want to go ahead and secure the radiator onto the back of the case here. Now, this next part of the video here is where the battery on my damn microphone died on me, and I didn't even know it. But it's all good, y'all, because I'm about to narrate this thing like a Morgan Freeman documentary as if it never even freaking happened. The next part I got to put together was, to me, had to be probably the easiest part of this build, and that is Thermaltake's fans. Listen, when I tell you they have the best PC fans in the market right now, I ain't lying, y'all. Let me show you how they work. So first off that I noticed is you can pop out the fans and actually flip them to allow for either intake or exhaust of the air to be able to cool your PC, which to me is dope. And you remember those first fans that I showed you where I had to daisy chain them all together using all of them cables? Well, with the magnetic fans here, man, you don't have none of that. All I had to do was literally put them side by side and the magnetic connection created the daisy chain for me. And the best part is, it's only one freaking cable that had to plug out into my motherboard, which, let me tell you, man, is so damn clutch. I'm talking all of my PC fans going forward is going to be Thermaltake magnetic fans. I'm talking GOAT status. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, save y'all a couple hours. All right, so once we got those installed into the bottom bracket of my case, I need to go ahead and screw them into the bottom, and then just like that, we done. Had to do a quick little spin of the fans for the camera. You know, I just thought it was a dope shot. It had literally nothing to do with this video. Next, I had the same magnetic fans that I installed at the bottom of the case that I put here at the top. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, since these were a little bit bigger, they were a little bit of a struggle to kind of hide and route the cable through to the back of the case, but I end up managing somehow, some way. And yeah, man, you see it. I got a lot of fans in this build, 11 to be exact, or I guess 14 if you count the 3 that's inside the GPU that we're gonna be installing next, because this PC will be handling all of my PC gaming, which is gonna be for something special that I got coming up for the channel. So sub if you're trying to be a part of the live stream crew, because we building over here, y'all. Let's go. All right, y'all, so for this last part here, I'm gonna go ahead and put in our GPU as well as our power supply, and then I'm gonna check back in with y'all in a second. All right, y'all, so look, my mic died on me again. Don't judge me, man. I'm trying to get through this. All right? I know I'm making this PC build look like it only took me about 20 minutes to build. Look, I wish that was the case, because right now, man, your boy going on 12 hours and no food. Dedication, baby. All right, so it's time to go ahead and put in the GPU. Now, I went with a 4080 Super for this build with NVIDIA. Now, my mind and my soul wanted that 4090, but the way my bank works, they was like, nah, not this time, champ. So this is what we're rolling with. But trust me, y'all, 4080 Super is still very much solid, man. I'm talking, I'm still getting 4K gaming at 240 FPS. So listen, y'all, it ain't a 4090, but it's still top shelf over here. Now, once I got the GPU in place, y'all remember that piece that I couldn't remember the name of it a little early in this video? It's the PCIe slots. Well, I'm installing that piece right now in order to be able to house the GPU in here and all of the other ports that I got to put in here. See, look, now y'all know what it's for. All right, so now that we got the GPU installed, which was super easy, you just push it all the way into literally the only slot on the motherboard that would actually take it. And then from there, you screw it into place and then you're done. Now it's time to go ahead and move on to the power supply and installing this. Now, this is probably the most important piece to be able to connect up right, or nothing will get power and work. So now you guys are seeing me routing pretty much all of the cables of my fans, my AIO, the motherboard, the GPU, literally everything in here needs to be plugged in and powered up in order for this bad boy to work. Each part has a connector and you just route it into the back of the power supply, and it's like magic, man, and it gives everything power. Listen and listen to me good. Before you seal up everything, I recommend you double, you triple, you quadruple check everything is plugged in right, because let's just say my first boot up, yeah, your boy got no juice. But I ended up figuring it all out. Just, you know, took me about 2 hours later, but that's besides the point. We here now. And the last thing we got to do is just put all of the glass to the case back into its position, as well as pushing the top in, which it needs no screws, which is definitely a W to me when it comes to this case. And let's try to boot this bad boy up. Let's go. All right, so just finished this build right here, man. I think personally, man, it came out looking really dope. Now I'm gonna be real with y'all. As a first-time builder, this was something to tackle. I'll just say that, man. But I will say, overall, man, it looks damn good. One thing I really got to point out, man, that I do like is the magnetic fans. The magnetic fans are freaking clutch, y'all. Like, it saves so much time on cable management when it comes to fans, because let's be honest, the most trickiest part when it comes to building a PC is routing the fans and daisy chaining them and all of that. But other than that, man, yeah, this was, let's just say I'm glad I'm done. Let me show y'all what it looked like. Let's go.
Switch on the homies in the day ones. They didn't want to open doors, so we made some. Take a bow on these haters like I'm Trey Young. That direct deposit hitting like a bass drum. Incoming, coming, coming, coming. Keep it incoming, coming, coming.